recording. Welcome. Hopefully this recording will work. I'm sort of running this meeting, aren't I? I don't like writing things, but what the hell. Welcome. Sorry for the bad language. Welcome to the mobile support meeting. Michelle is on vacation, back tomorrow. So I have graciously volunteered or been volunteered, I can't remember, to run this meeting, and it is at 10:30 Pacific and UTC, I don't know what. But to keep Tom and SatDav happy, I've unilaterally, hello Hermina, to keep Tom and SatDav happy, I've unilaterally decided to post the meeting times in UTC and in Pacific. And I think Tom's Tad, as Tyler and I were discussing. Hello, Tom. And I will set up a channel on YouTube. I'm going through the action items. And I don't know what this SatDav meant, but speak about the time to change to make contributors aware. I don't know. Anybody know what that means? No? Well, I'm willing to change it, but we are time zone constrained, and it's not up to me. I really believe it's up to Michelle, and let her worry about any future time changes. But for now, we'll keep it at 10:30 going forward. And then that is Rosanna. All I saw was her forehead.
Hello.
So yes, Rosanna, we are recording. And I believe, although last week we didn't have audio, so who knows what will happen this week. Who knows what happens in the wonderful world of video recording. But I did a test recording beforehand. So just to catch you up, as the British say, Rosanna and Hermina, I'm going to post the meeting times in UTC and in Pacific. And for those who want to yak shit about time zones, that's fine, but I don't care. And we should all be good. And changing the time of this meeting will be dependent on Michelle. And it's really hard because we have people in Europe and all over the world. So I think this is a good time for now. We'll keep it at this time until Michelle and everyone else can convince themselves we have some sort of consensus. And QA, do we have a Naoki? Hirata. No Naoki and no updates. There are various work weeks, so I'm not sure if Naoki is involved. Naoki seems to be one of those people who's involved in everything. I know there's a WebRTC work week. Maybe he's involved in that. I know there's a UX work week. Maybe he's involved in that. So anyways, no QA update. Hermina and Ralph. Firefox OS update?
No big updates. Looking over at the forums, there's still no major issues to report. Everything seems pretty calm.
Yeah. And the naming issue, I think we should call it to normal people Firefox OS, but internally or to volunteers, we can still call it V2G. Is that right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It doesn't matter. And Hermina and Ralph, do you have any feedback on Andrew's feedback for Firefox OS? He got his key on last week. And he has some notes in the Etherpad. Ooh. I have the same issues that Andrew has had. I also have issues with the keyboard, which requires sort of the touchscreen keyboard requires you to hit the space bar very precisely, and autocorrect is not on by default, so I will try that. But I'm using it here in Canada, in Vancouver. 3G works, and I don't know. It's better than a lot of Nokia. Oh, sorry, did I say that? It's a better than a lot of phones from other manufacturers that I've had in the past. And those were like real big manufacturers who shall be nameless. So yeah, update the device, FM radio. Yeah, I haven't tried that. Carrier name. Yeah, had that. I filed a bug for my carrier not being right. Wiggle problem. Well, these are great feedbacks, Andrew. Pure 56, I guess. If you have the time, check out Bugzilla, and if these bugs are not found, if you can't find them, file a bug. Right? Is that the advice from Min and Ralph?
Yes.
Yeah.
And even so yeah, if you can't find it right away, then yeah, you can file a bug, and then someone else will be able to triage it and find the right bug.
Yes. Firefox for Android. Sentiment report, Tyler.
So the blog post that went live earlier this week has the sentiment reports for desktop and Android on it. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know, and we'll try to incorporate that into the next one. We'll be doing this around week 5 or so of each release, so expect another one end of July, beginning of August for Firefox 22. Other than that, nothing for Firefox for Android other than 22 is live and no major issues so far. But it's only been out in the wild for around 24 hours. So.
I have a question. Does Metrics and you guys plan to release a roadmap of some sort? Or what do you call that? Waiting list of items you want to put in the sentiment report? Like you mentioned in an email or IRC, I can't remember what, getting all input sources in there. I know you don't have a timeline, but it might be nice to have like a little document saying, these are things we're considering. So that people
Yeah,
like stop bugging you.
we have a wish list for metrics,
Okay.
and that's currently kind of an ugly private document.
Okay.
I put a couple things in the blog post that we want for
Yeah.
sentiment report in the future. But yeah, definitely, probably in Q3 we'll be finalizing a lot of that wish list and setting some further goals out. You know, if we want to get it done this year or if we're going to have to push it out farther. Metrics is currently in the middle of a reorg though, so a lot of that's going to have to
Yeah.
be delayed. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be working on that in Q3.
Yeah, and ideally, of course, we'd want all the input sources flowing into all the sentiment reports, because eventually we'll have one for Firefox OS. But the problem is some of the input sources like Google Play don't have an API.
Yep.
And we're not legally allowed to scrape them. So rock and hard place, as they say in English. In other words, we can't do anything about some of them currently, right?
Yep.
But I mean, it's worthwhile having a public wish list and pseudo roadmap with no commitment, I think. But I'll let you guys take care of that. Oh, and I would just like to say, as far as I know, Stat I've asked this question in IRC in here, we don't have an ESR for Firefox or Android, right? An enterprise release, which means, as far as I know, the official Mozilla policy is the current release is supported release. We don't support the previous releases. To use a grandiose term, they are end of life. Correct?
Yep. With any
So,
release, desktop or Android, as soon as we release a new version, the previous version is immediately end of life, and we don't release updates or support for that at all. The only exception is the ESRs on desktop, and those have their own release cycle.
right.
Other than
Right.
that, the current release is the only supported release.
But I can understand how that can be confusing because it's not, sometimes the distinction between desktop and Android is not clear. Okay, a different chair for each month. Well, I'm fine with that. But we should probably talk about this when Michelle comes back. And do we have any action items for next week? I don't think so. Anybody? And as they say, do we have any audibles? So for those of you who don't play American football, audibles are, they have this crazy quarterback, and the quarterback will yell out funny numbers. These are the audibles for last minute plays. So are there any audibles? Anything you guys want to bring up in mobile land, Firefox OS, or Android this week?
So I will be on PTO next week.
Oh, right.
So if anyone has any support user advocacy issues, either take them to Roland or Matt Grimes. I'll be in LA on the beach.
Nice. Unblock. Yes. So we have a fun couple of weeks coming up with our launches of various things, and I guess more on that in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, real quick, I'll go ahead and mention it. Next week, I'll be in Brazil for Fizzly. It's the biggest open source software event in Brazil. There's going to be about, I think, 7,000 people over 4 days. And there's going to be a pretty big Mozilla presence there. Quite a few sumo contributors from Brazil. And I'll be working with them to localize a lot of things, sprints. And so I have a little army of awesome sumo contributors from Brazil. And if there's anything that you guys want us to keep tabs on or to watch out on the forums, any forums or anything, please let me know, and I'll do it, and we'll work on something.
Is that FISL, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll drop a link in. Yes, I know that there's at least one Firefox or Android developer. I believe Giancarlo, I can't pronounce your last name. GCP, as we call him, will be there. Look for him if you're there in Brazil.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. A GCP, or I will put it on the Etherpad. So if you're there in Brazil, Ralph, yeah, because there's a lot of overlap between Firefox for Android and Firefox OS. Mm-hmm. Alrighty, anything else? Okay, hopefully this recording worked. Till next week, same time in UTC and in Pacific.